allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, some audience introductions. We'd like to start. Sorry. Can I? Yes. Amend the. Yes. Let's shift some things around.
Yeah, I would like to propose that we move item 6B to be 1B.
Or maybe 2. So we have to approve the agenda.
Okay, after agenda then.
So we'll make 3, 6B. And renumber after that.
Okay. I'm good with that. My reason I'm asking to move that up is so that the students can participate and not be obligated to sit through our whole meeting.
So let's start with audience introductions now. Whoever would like to start.
Hi, I'm Tyler McDaniel. I'm a senior representative for the senior class at Perrydale. So we're here to discuss about changing some of the dress code policies.
Okay.
So thank you.
I'm Grace Hannon. I'm also one of the representatives for the senior class to amend the dress code policies.
Great. Okay, so let's move to item 2, approval of agenda with the change that was made.
I'm going to approve the agenda with no changes.
I'll second. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We'll move to item 3, which was 6B, which will be discussion of policy JFCA, the dress code policy. Trina and Jenny would like to Great.
Jenny, you want to go? So did you get a copy of the old policy right here? Yep. So as you guys are aware, last month, Mr. Dugan said that the students wanted to meet with us, so we wanted to make some changes to the dress code policy. I think we had their notes, their requests, and then we think we had 11 different sample policies from districts around us, including 4 other sample policies of other 1A districts. So we kind of compared those and went over each one of the pieces of the dress code that the students wanted to address and make improvements on. And one of the things that they liked was Amity and Central School District and what was the other one? Duford did a dress code policy that said allowable dress and grooming and non-allowable dress and grooming, which the student committee, how many students were with on the
There
committee?
was like 2 in each class.
Yes,
There was 5 that were actually on it, 2 seniors, 1 of
Yeah, one.
juniors, sophomores, freshmen, and then they had alternates, and then we adopted an extra senior who
There we go.
has been critical of the dress code policy, who I thought was a valuable voice to have. So
Yeah,
it was great.
she is great. By the way, if you need your dog groomed, she's really good at it. This is, as you can see in front of all of you, we have the old dress code policy. And then we have the new suggested policy. And I think what's really important is that we got feedback from a lot of the staff, but mostly we were able to go back and forth. How many times? 5? 4? 4.
Yeah, by the board, we had, and Grace and us will do a little bit of background over the summer as well to try to help out with that too.
And so we were able to come to, there was a lot of negotiating. There was some give and take. one of the things that we didn't give on was the halter tops, midriffs, and strapless. Did I say that correctly? Yes, yeah. So we said that we needed midriffs covered and we needed, to have some sort of strap. Those were the things that, Jenny and I expressed to the student that the board probably would not be okay with. So do you want us, I guess we should read it. You wanna read it, Jenny?
The new one?
Yeah.
Sure. So the Perryville school dress code is established to promote appropriate grooming and hygiene, prevent disruption, and avoid safety hazards. Students who represent the school in a voluntary activity may be required to meet additional dress and grooming standards set by the school administration and may be denied the opportunity to participate if those standards are not met. The main purpose of our school is to serve as an educational institution where students present themselves in a manner that promotes a positive, productive school environment, personal pride, and academic success. If you have any questions about the dress and grooming standards, please speak with one of the administrators. These standards were revised after discussions with the committee of students, staff, board members, and parents. Basic principles of private parts. Certain, which is a overall explanation of what needs to really be covered. And then we give allowable and non-allowable dress and grooming items specifically as examples. So basic principles of private parts. Certain body parts must be covered for all students at all times, regardless of gender. Clothing must be worn in such a way that the genitals, all parts of the buttocks, I don't know how to say that word, all parts of the breasts, nipples, torso, and midriff are fully covered. Allowable dress and grooming include hats and other headwear that must allow the face to be visible and not interfere with the line of sight of any student or staff. Hoods must be down during class times. Second bullet point, religious head coverings and headwear. Third, fitted pants, including opaque leggings, yoga pants, and skinny jeans. Tops or dresses must have straps. Clothing must cover all private parts and cannot be see-through or strapless. Appropriate undergarments must be worn to ensure modesty. Clothing must cover all undergarments, waistband and bra shoulder straps excluded. Fashion holes, rips, tears, rips must not show any underwear. Waistbands and bra shoulder straps excluded, or private parts. Clothing must be suitable for all scheduled classroom activities, including physical education, science labs, wood shop, and other activities where unique hazards exist. Specialized courses may require specialized attire, such as sports uniforms or safety gear. A student's mid-torso, front and back must be covered at all times. In general, students must be prepared to walk up and downstairs, bend over, sit in a desk, and raise their arms without showing private parts or bellies. Things that are not non-allowable dress and grooming are clothing or jewelry that promotes harassment, prejudice, sexism, or racism. Clothing or items with profane or vulgar language with reference to violence and sexually explicit clothing. Clothing may not depict, advertise, or advocate the use of alcohol, tobacco, marijuana, or other controlled substances. No gang identifiers or insignias on clothing, costumes, or accessories. Clothing may not target groups based on race, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, gender identity, religious affiliation, or any other protected groups. Chains or other clothing, ornaments, accessories that could be used as a weapon. No weapons can be carried. Clothing such as or similar to halter tops, tube tops, backless tops, dresses, and clothing that exposes private parts, including midriff and the size of the torso, is prohibited. T-shirts cannot be cut down the sides, which reveal skin, and no bare feet for safety reasons. The end.
And because it's gross. Bare food is gross.
Do you guys have anything you wanna say?
I like this time here personally.
So, being on the committee, it's my recommendation that we approve this dress code. I also would like to say that in meeting with the students, they were wonderful to work with. They brought a lot of information to the table. They were open, communicative, and negotiated very fairly. But they have asked that maybe we might be willing to adopt this new policy in one reading because they would like it to be in place.
I think this policy is really well done, so good job to everybody that participated in it. Do we have a motion?
I'll move to accept or adopt policy JFCA, or the revised policy JFCA.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes unanimously. Thank you both for doing that.
Thank
If
you,
you would
ladies.
like to stay, you're welcome to. If you do not want to, it's okay if you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Can you share this with the class with me tomorrow morning when they first get here? Maybe we can all wear hats together. No halter tops though.
Or tube tops,
Yeah.
or.
Yeah, I'm not gonna wear my tube top tomorrow.
Vanessa, we'll need to put the adopted date on this policy and then add it to our policy book.
I can do that.
That's online.
Yep.
Thank you,
guys so
ladies.
much for Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, thank you. Thanks for being here.
Have a great night, all of you.
You
You
too.
too.
So then we'll move to item now 4, delegation of visitors.
Okay.
You just
Which just Okay, so item number 5, information for the board, superintendent.
So I have some data that I was mentioning earlier. And again, this is kind of what Gabe was talking about, but I think when we had some for this last school year. And these are from, again, our integrated guidance that we have. And I was waiting for Sarah Baird, who said is our data person that we work with closely at WBSD. She's really great. She used to work at Western, and so kind of got her feet wet, but she's moved over there and she's worked closely with us. Last time we did integrated guidance, and really for our smaller schools, such as us in Fall City, St. Paul, even some of the other ones that are in our region like Sheridan, she's able to help provide some of the data for us a lot quicker than we could normally. Again, I can print this off, be a little bit larger area, but this shows some of the areas that we're doing well in as far as making some progress. Some areas that we're still struggling in, I already mentioned some of those. And there's 5 different areas that we'll look at, but these are the areas that the state kind of grades us on when it comes to our integrated guidance. So, for example, these are all indicators of success later on as far as getting your diploma. One of them is your 3rd grade ELA scores. And so when our baseline year, that was a couple of years ago, was 20%. And so the state said we want to make this attainable. And so they were saying, we want you to improve by about 2%. The stretch would be about 4% goal. And we improved by about 10% last year. Now, again, that's looking at one 3rd grade class to another 3rd grade class, because that's how they measure this. So really, if we're looking at some other growth, it should be 3rd grade and 4th grade. And we agree with that statement. When we look at that, unfortunately, it's not always how the state looks at that. So But these are the things, again, that when we look at integrated guidance, and I bring that to you folks next month, we have integrated guidance and literacy grant that we'll be talking with you folks and doing our report on. We want to make sure that, you know, you kind of have an idea of what this data looks like now. And again, look at, you know, what we're doing all right, what we could still be working on. I mean, everything we could always be working on, but kind of where we need to shore up. The number on the far right, where you see top 10% growth, and that's the 90th percentile, they go off of that when they try to make realistic goals, like you were talking about, attainable with SMART goals. Okay, well, the best schools in the state, they say, make a jump of like 1.3%. Well, I understand that, but they don't have as far to go. So, you know, we had numbers that were lower. And so we felt like these were numbers that we could get that were better. And I'll show you one. There's one area that's really frustrating. It's attendance on the back. We'll look at that in a minute.
So what
Sorry.
what are all the, like, what's this box?
Sure.
This
And,
box?
that's on the next page. Like
Oh,
I said,
sorry.
They have printed off, and I'm sorry.
Got it, now I see.
I
Okay.
thought it would be much
Yeah.
different than that. I apologize. It's the way I did this.
It works.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
does, but
now
I'll
I
have
get
it look much better next
Yeah.
month, so. So yeah, the next one is ninth grade on track. You can see, you know, we did great with that, 100%. They actually got that data, a couple, like, well, last week. That's what I was waiting on, some of the data to roll in for her. And she was excited about that. And I said, well, that is great, but that's what we expect, is that and our graduation rate to be close to 100. And the state's always gonna really say about, like, once you get to that 96 percentile for the reporting, they're gonna just say 96 or above, greater than 96 or 95. Because with a smaller school, you know, that's one kid that may not make it, so they don't always say 100, it'll just say greater than 95. But these are the actual percentages that she gave us for this document, so I could share with you guys. And then regular attenders, this is the one that we're really struggling with. Now, this one, we had a change in our office staff that does the attendance last year, and we think that our person was a little strict on some of the things with attendance. So for example, some activities that our students were doing, and that changed our regular attenders. So we talked about that at the beginning of this school year, but our numbers should be much higher. Regular attender is basically somebody who's missing less than 10% of the school year. So 10% of the school year is 15 days. Now, we realize that people getting sick and there's vacations that people take, et cetera. But we believe that some of our FFA events or sporting events were counted when they were done here. So that's what we're looking for this year. And we're going to review those every quarter to make sure that we're looking at that to see if we can clean up that data, because we feel our data should be close to about 90%.
I would say we got regular notices that we had a student unexcused.
And that was when she was at an event. Okay.
Like she was
And
at a
that's-
school
okay.
event or at a sporting event. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's great feedback. Thank you for saying that, because that kind of, you know, goes to what we were saying there and improves that a little bit more. So that's one thing that we talked about with the office, and I talked about with Sarah as well, that, you know, I don't think we have 70%. Now, that being said, that is actually on par with the state of Oregon. That doesn't mean that's what we want to be. So we expect, again, that we would be about 90% or above. We do have a large number of students that do take some trips with their families now. I think that's increased over the last, I'd say 10, 15 years, especially as airline flights get more expensive, housing or hotels get more expensive. Families take trips to, you know, Hawaii, Mexico, whatever may be the case, and we understand that. Hunting trips, et cetera, those things all factor into some of those missed days. You know, even though we understand that we're not saying it's not valuable, it still goes against them. But we do think that there's ways to clean that up, and we think that that will be significantly higher this coming year. So. And then the next one here, you see 40-year graduation rate. Again, that's very low for us. We were very surprised by the 84. We thought we only had one student. Again, we were thinking of just last year, but when we started thinking back to when they started high school we started to remember again the young gentleman that lost his mother that moved with dad in South Carolina. We remembered the other one, and so that made some sense. Again, if they don't enroll, we don't get a records request, and we don't send those forward, then they stay with us. So, and that's what had to happen with these ones. And then with our 5-year completion, again,
So do we think the young man didn't go to school?
yeah, that's what
Oh.
sounds like. Yeah, I'm gonna follow up with Ann, who's still in this area. So I'm gonna try to follow up with her. We just found this out at the end of last week, on Friday actually, when I found that out. So when we look at, or Thursday, sorry, when we look at the 5-year completion, that tends to be a little bit higher. I did ask Sarah today when I spoke with her a little bit after our meeting at the ESD. I asked her about the numbers for 4-year and 5-year with state again. Well, not that we're trying to aim just to be with the state, but the 4-year graduation rate typically is low 80%, and the 5-year completion is about 85% for the state of Oregon. Generally, you can see some of the data from other years. We're about 95%. We usually have 1 or 0 that we're trying to, work through. We always aim for 100% with our graduation rate, and especially our 5-year completers. So that's some of the data. Again, really concerned about the regular attenders. We'll look at that data here in a couple weeks. We think that that will be better. Now that we're, put another eye on it, and I'll say that to Peggy about you receiving those messages.
Yeah, I mean, we always call, but other people might not have.
Yeah. And then, again, the 4 and 5-year completer, again, we try to still help out those students, and we understand that. And so we find that, even though it's not the diploma for some, again, a GED may be success for some of our families when the student comes to us with very few credits and there may be a senior, trying to help them find something that will be successful moving forward. So anyway, those are the items that we look at, the longitudinal, the LGTs, what they call them, and those growth targets is what we get graded on. I don't know if that's what they'll look at when it comes to some of the data. I'm guessing for our integrated guidance money, obviously they would. I don't know if that's what some of the other increases in funding, that's what it would be geared to. I know literacy has some, so I don't know if they'll be looking at that. One other piece we talked about today was what is summer, some people qualified for summer money last year. We, as I shared with you guys last year, we did not even come close to qualifying for that. We were ranked like 200th on the list, and we were lower on the priority list than Westland Wilsonville, which blew my mind. So one of the requests that was given by myself and some of the other people on our little share thing we did on our phone was not to tie these summer learning grants to a competitive grant process, is to allow us to all have access to some of this, to reach some of our struggling students. No matter if you're Westland, Perrydale, Hillsborough, whatever it is, we all have students who need some of that additional support. And if we don't have that funding to be able to offer that during the summer or other tutoring or whatever may be the case, it's hard to help out in that way. So we're hoping that we'll see some of that funding, but there's going to be a lot of people asking for money at various programs. So anyway, hopefully we'll see some increases in all these. I'll share this again next year with you folks so we can see where we are next year compared to this year. And this will be part of our integrated guidance final report that we share with you folks next month. Any questions on this?
No, it's helpful to see.
Thank you. We'll move to elementary middle school report.
We'll get to that, sorry.
Alrighty, preschool of course is well underway now. We've got a couple of things that are different for preschool this year. And the primary idea is that we've been able to add kind of an indoor play space, so that if it's raining or there's just inclement weather, they're able to be active, and not having to hike all the way over to the playground. So that's been really nice. That was a lot to Gretchen. She worked with us to figure out what kinds of things can we offer indoor that will give kids a chance to climb and play and run while being in a smaller space instead of a gymnasium or out on the playground. The other half of the modular where the art room has been.
Okay.
Yeah, so just expanded their classroom into two sides basically.
Okay.
So one is more the recess side. I encourage you guys to check it out if you're ever interested in looking. It's pretty fun. We've got our carnival coming up. That's this Thursday, 5:30 to 7:30. We have every year, the last 3 years anyway, our committee has grown and we've really been able to kind of extend the opportunities that are going to be at the carnival. And so we're expecting a pretty great turnout again this year. We did just find out that there will also be a game on the same night. So we are really crossing our fingers for no rain. Because if we have rain, that could shift around some of our opportunities, but we will work with that once we get there, if that needs to be the case. Our FFA has their pumpkin days coming up, that they start tomorrow actually, where they're working with the elementary students, some of the high school students working with elementary students on different activities, including pumpkin carving. And in the middle school, just staff has reported that kids are working really hard. They feel like the cell phone change has been very helpful in focus levels and some things like that. And so they're working at finishing this quarter strong. And we have the Reptile Man coming to our school next month. And we think that's going to be a lot of fun for our students in the elementary.
I'm coming.
Yeah, do.
Come to pumpkin days too, it's fun.
Pumpkin days are
I
fun.
just cooked a little bit of pumpkin myself. Roasted my seeds.
You can have some
These
more.
are our little
We have a lot
guys.
covered. Put in some garbage bags for you.
Chickens will be happy.
Okay, thank you. We'll move to this Fed report. Erin's not here, so I figured one of y'all would be doing it.
So we're serving 37 students on IEPs. We have a new staff member, Jim Betts, who's been a wonderful addition to our team. We have scheduled a big IEP meeting day on October 29th where we'll have a sub who floats, and they're able to hold 6 IEP meetings during the school day that way. We have about 3 or 4 of these a year, which has allowed us to be more present at the end of the day. Recently, we've reviewed our roles and responsibilities, and there seemed to be a positive change because of that.
Okay, thank you. And then any questions on Troy's facility reports for this month?
No, Troy's journal is up to par like normal.
So we'll move to item 5B, Spotlight on Education.
Yeah, so this one's a kind of a rehash of the last 7 years, but I just wanted to make a comment. So Steve Mabry, most of you probably know who he is, but he's going through another battle of his cancer right now. And just seeing him out there on Friday, he had a treatment earlier that day where he had chemo, and for him to be out there that night working with our kids, and not that we expect him to have to do those things, but I think this is his 4th round with it, I believe. Yeah. And just the mental and physical bravery to be able to face that and just power through that is pretty, it's a pretty good role model for our kids with that, just to be able to go through those things. And you got a chance to sit next to his wife the other night at the game, and just another day at the office for them. And it's, I get it, your 4th time, you're kind of numb to it, I'm sure, but I just don't want to lose sight of the fact that he's dedicated so many hours to our kids, and our kids genuinely really seem to like Steve and care a lot about Steve, and they know that he's invested in them. And you drive to Mars if he had to spend time with them and coach them. And he's told me many times, and has told G many times, that coaching these guys is what helps him get through these times when he has to go through treatment and the uncertainty, just knowing that he gets to spend that time with the kids and that daily interaction with them is a big deal. So I think Perrydale's been a good place for Steve, but Steve's been great for Perrydale and our kids and the relationship and the respect they show him, the interaction. I think the respect is mutual, though. I think that there's a lot of good things there. So I just want to say thank you to Coach Steve and our other coaches and kids for being understanding of the commitment that Steve has to make to his own health and making sure he's trying to be there for his family and do things, later on, taking care of himself. But yeah, he's quite amazing. Good man. So, thank you to Steve.
Thank you for sharing
Yeah.
that. Okay, so let's move to item 5C, new hires resignations.
So I'm going back here. So yeah, we had Jen Betts. So Jen had subbed here many years ago, and then her oldest daughter just graduated last year. She had been working at Oasis through the ESD, which is a place for students to go that have some severe behavior needs and some physical violence needs sometimes, etc. And she had been subbing for other districts as well. So for us to get somebody of that caliber was great. Christy and Aaron had done some interviews with a pretty good applicant pool, and Jen rose to the top. And again, to have somebody with that type of qualification was pretty remarkable. She also subbed for us at the beginning of the year for a few weeks. Didn't seem like she was interested in applying for a permanent position. And then she let Aaron know that she was considering applying, and then she did. And, it's worked out well so far. So look forward to having her. Anything you want to add?
Jen.
No, I don't think so. Thanks.
Move to item 5D, Division 22 report.
Sure. So it says that time of year again. The one we all look forward to. And Vanessa, I have one for you.
Thank you.
Everyone, somebody's right there. Somebody? So our yearly report on compliance, we'll make sure we post this on the website. One of the area that we marked ourselves, there's one we marked ourselves out of compliance on, or I did. And that is the comprehensive school counseling. This is for last year. We had an extended time without a comprehensive program due to a staff leave. We partnered with Polk County Mental Health, the corrective action and plan, the timeline. We partnered with them to provide a comprehensive program for all students grade K through 12, which also allows us to better provide access to wraparound services. This was completed by October 1st, 2024, because Alaska's for the corrective action. Two of the other items that I would have you look at is down to the subcategory assessment reporting. That's actually done by the state, where it says waived through 27-28, which is the assessment of essential skills and diploma requirements. And then on the next page, the assessment skill, or the essential skill assessments for English language learners. Oh yeah, I do right here.
Why are they waived?
That's what the ODE had done. They waived us through there. That's what the Oregonian asked last year. That same very question, and why do we have to waive them? Why we're not doing it? It's actually one of the things that Brett had put on. He's still going to be doing work samples every semester with all of his math kids. So we're still going to be doing that, even though they're waiving the essential skills. And part of our reasoning with this is that 27-28, those students that are seniors that year, we're not going to wait till their senior year to see if they pass that test or not. We're going to go ahead and just have all of our math students have these opportunities. As Christy was talking about earlier, if you have some students that are struggling with these papers that are all in Word form, Well, the way you get through that is by having more opportunities to work on those types of problems. So
Right.
having to do a couple a year, 8 opportunities total throughout their school career, there's a good chance they're gonna pass at least 2 of those. And that would help them demonstrate the essential skills. And if we start with this year's freshmen, that's the class of 28. So that way they would have those opportunities. Again, not all of them have to have math their senior year, but they would at least have 6 on the books first. And then if they didn't pass by the end of their junior year with the essential skills, they'll complete 2 more that senior year.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, if we keep waiting it,
No.
we'll miss the boat on
Yeah.
opportunities. It's kind of weird.
So we have to make sure we do this,
What did they tell the Oregonian when they asked that question? No answer. Gotcha. Never mind. We gotta be quick.
so, we'll have this posted on the website. Again, we just have to make sure we present this. And so our public can see it as well. And then again, we do this every year. And it's now October. It used to be a little bit later in the year, but we'll present this at the October meeting each year. And then we plan on integrated guidance. And hopefully next year literacy and integrated guidance, I think, will be combined in one report. That's what they're talking about doing. We'll see if that comes to fruition. But if it does, that would be great to just kind of report on one thing, kind of a omnibus bill, basically. That would be nice. So if you have any other questions later on, let me know. If you have any questions now, I'm more than happy to answer those as well.
No questions? Okay. All right, we'll move to item 5E, School Board Network. I spoke to Hugh Addy the other day on the phone, and he had reached out to me with this School Board Network public education initiative. And he's a lobbyist, and they keep a very close eye on what's going on with education bills and things coming out of committee in Salem. And so what they're trying to do with this network is get as many school districts on board as they can, so that we are aware when stuff comes out, how it would be affecting anything that's going on with education. There are no dues to be a part of this group, so it's not a monetary issue for the school district. It's just information only. So right now it's going to be fairly quiet. Once legislative session starts to pick up, we'll get emails and notifications with anything that would be pertaining to education specifically in the state of Oregon. So it's just information. They're trying to get a large group together. The idea being the more voices they have, the more pull they have with what goes on in Salem. So he had said to have every one of you reach out to me if you have questions. He was pretty informative with me on the phone and kind of what their goals are. I think this would be a really great idea for us to be a part of this. And it's just information for the districts themselves. I shared this with a couple of other districts as well. Feel free, if you know people on other school boards and want to share it as well, feel free to do so. It's just informational only. But if we would like to become a part of it, we don't need to take a vote. It would just be a consensus. And again, it's just information for the district and how things might come down that would affect us. So
I noticed they take positions on things, so us being a part of it, how is that?
it doesn't mean that we take position. It's just
But are we listed in any way of being affiliated with them?
I'm not sure.
Because I'm
That's a good question.
just gonna say I'm very uncomfortable.
Okay.
Being affiliated.
And I'm not sure that is.
So information, fine, but I wanna know
Yeah.
how us being a part could
That's a great question.
Yeah, because generally they list that.
Yeah, because if they're taking a position and it may be one that we don't agree with, then we don't want our name on that, so. that's a
Or
great
we
question.
weren't part of the decision making.
And my understanding was that was not how it would go. It was more information coming to us, not this is what we're going to be doing as an organization. More about giving us information as a school district about what was coming up in the next legislative session. but I can certainly ask about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, cause it says that they took, like, lobbied this bill. So, I mean, I just have questions about like who's paying for this, like
Yeah.
somebody is and who's
You
the
know what?
board and.
I would love for you to reach out to him too. Okay.
I'm gonna tell you.
Okay, I can ask that question, but yeah, so he just reached out to me. I'm passing the information on to you, and you all can decide what you want to do with it. Or if you'd like me to get more information
Can we
first.
table it until next month?
Of course.
We can get some more information.
All right, so then let's move to,
There, did you want to share that now, or do you want to share that?
Report cards.
Yeah, do you want to wait till November?
It doesn't matter to me.
Okay.
I maybe should give them a heads up and maybe,
Yeah, Chrissy had some, I thought she was sharing it during her, the K-8 principal time.
oh,
and
okay.
I thought about it kind of after the fact. We're making a shift in report cards, so I thought I would bring that to your attention. Again, it's trying to narrow down information that families really need to help families be able to support their students. But also, our current program will not allow us to make any updates or changes to the report card. And so what we're really working to do is we've been using Forefront to collect data for the last couple of years, and Forefront will now push that out into a report card format. And we can also change that report card yearly if we wanted to, adjust wording, add a standard, take away a standard. And so that's what we're planning to be moving forward with this year. We tried it last year by adding as a supplemental piece that went home with the regular report card for kindergarten and first grade. We had a lot of great feedback. Staff liked it, and it will also save a lot of time. And provide a shift from staff at the elementary level. Kids don't receive things in the same graded format. So it left some judgment up to the teacher, and that they still have that judgment, but this will take assessment data and push it right into the report card versus a staff member entering a grade for every different section that may or may not be as closely tied to data as it will now using Forefront.
Could you possibly send a copy of that to me over the next few days so I can email that to them?
Yes, I can provide the copy of what we use for K1, and by the 29th is when we will have the finalized version of K5.
But she wanted to make sure she let you folks know about it before grading day,
Yeah.
so.
It looks a lot different. I think it's just going to be far more user friendly for families and staff alike. I think I actually shared some of them with you, but I'll double check.
You did, I just didn't, as far as online, I had the copy, I didn't know if you
Maybe
had.
that's what it was. Okay. Any questions or things that you'd like to make sure are considered?
Is this for high school?
No,
it's
it's
just
K5.
K5.
K-5.
It's more a shift in presentation and user friendly.
It's color coordinated,
Very color coordinated. It's
Nice.
colorful.
kind of like those forecast 5 graphs.
Okay, thank you. We move
Yeah.
to item 6A. So is it 6? Yeah. Consent agenda.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. And then we'll move to 7. I guess we'll call this 7. Items for board action, OSBA elections. So in this packet that was put together for everybody is the candidate questionnaire that was sent out. So candidate for this position being Craig Albright. That's the actual vote. Okay, and then the resolutions were all in here, and then they have this 2024 OSBA proposed bylaw amendment summary, and it just kind of talked about, some of the amendments they want to put into the bylaws. I also had Cindy print this up for us. And this list here tells us how much we're paying to OSBA in dues, and this is per year.
Some of that is the policy. So we pay the web hosting for Policy Plus, and then we pay the Policy Plus subscription.
So one of the resolutions that's in this pile of resolutions has to do with some representation on the OSBA board. And this is for one of the Pride members. It would be a voting position. When I spoke to Jim Green a couple of years back, I talked to him about some other positions that, for example, if we came up with, if there was a conservative caucus member or there was a Christian caucus member, and he said, sure, you can come up with any caucus member that could be up for a vote for a voting membership. At any point, you just have to get a group together, and then there would be a vote, and so on. So that's essentially what this is about. I know there's some pretty strong feelings about it around this board. I don't know if you all want to discuss it. But I'm just very uncomfortable with resolution 2. And I guess I just kind of want to hear you guys out on what you think we should do with this in particular. You do have the option to not vote on any resolution. Your options are either yes, no, abstain, or no action taken. I guess the bigger question is, do we want to continue with OSBA? Do we want to vote on these? Do we want to discontinue with OSBA and not vote on these? And I guess I want to just open it up for discussion and see where you all are at with all the information that's been provided and get some feedback.
Well, I know that we've talked about it for years of not being part of OSB anymore because of what they've been doing and giving money to them for, really nothing.
Is it primarily policies?
I think so.
I think that's probably the biggest.
That's the biggest cost.
The Policy Plus packet.
And also, do we get any, for being a member or anything
Yeah.
related to
Council.
insurance
And legal is a separate,
pace?
it's a separate invoice. That's the second one down here, like
Yeah.
because it was a different vendor, the legal assistance. So,
Do you have to belong to?
and that's what I don't know. I
OSBA
just made
to
myself a note.
access that?
Because I know PACE is like our insurance carrier refers to PACE, but OSBA also PACE is on their website. So I don't know how those things, I don't know if you can
So when we're gonna,
be aligned with PACE and not, I don't know. So that's something that I'll find out. I made a note for myself because that was the first question I
The
thought
answer
of.
is no. The answer is no.
when we're going to have a discussion with an employee about personnel issues or possible termination of employment, we have to always talk with PACE Pre-Loss, which is the lawyers from OSBA. So it's in order to make sure that we're covered. So we have to have that discussion with them. They give their input and make sure we're crossing our T's and dotting our I's. And if we do that, then we're covered. If we don't do that and we mess up, then they may not cover that insurance wise. So I don't know if you may know better than Trina on this, but that would be my only question is, do you have to belong to OSBA to have PACE insurance? And if we do, PACE insurance is, it covers a lot of things. I mean, our car insurance is for our buses and our,
Or you can look to see what other
Property.
insurance,
yeah.
yeah.
So that would be the biggest concern would be the insurance for me, for our day-to-day thing would be that.
I just always thought those were two completely separate things.
I don't know,
That's-
like the
that's-
example would be OSBA is now with our Oregon Small Schools. It used to be that, or COSA, so OSBA. It used to be that there were two separate things and now COSA is has told some of the Oregon Small Schools board directors that in order to be part of Oregon Small Schools, you have to belong to COSA. And so that's, I just want to make sure if it's kind of a, like you said, it's a caucus essentially. That would be my concern is if you get intertwined. And I thought we had looked into that one other time. And I thought we had to be, but again, that was not my area at that time.
We were paying dues to OSBA and then we're paying dues to OSBA legal.
Yeah.
So we're paying for two separate things, so that's what I'm gonna,
But
that's
yeah,
what
I
I'll
don't
ask
know if
them.
you can access the legal without being a member
Right.
of OSBA.
So,
To be in the club.
That's just because PACE and OSBA are together.
Yeah, so before OEP, our insurance carrier stuff for the schools, we used to go through, OSBA had Blue Cross Blue Shield plans that they would offer school districts, and then they would get a percentage of that. And that's how they help fund their stuff. And then OEA members were like, hey, we don't want to keep paying the legal fees for the people that keep trying to go against us in negotiations.
Well, and legislation a long time ago created like the fund, basically they're self-insured.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of grew. So I wasn't in my mind, just the dealings I've had with them on other things, didn't have it put together with OSBA, but
It is.
Yeah, they're,
I looked into this when I was a board member.
it's common
Yeah.
for like.
If you're self-insured, if you're a self-insured district, no problem. But if you leave OSBA, you can't be with PACE.
Okay.
Or I would have put it on the table 2 years ago. Because just like Katie said, she's not comfortable, I'm not comfortable with what OSBA represents when they go put their name and stand behind something for policy. I don't agree with a very large majority of what they do, and I'm just a really tiny little fish. This district is really tiny, and
so it goes.
I would like to take a vote, because voting matters, even if we're tiny. I think it is too. I mean, definitely we should get the facts again. It's been
Yeah.
several years.
and I'm like, someone at OSBA gonna tell me, yes, you have to, but
Right.
like, I'm trying to think of who
Well, right on
I'm
PACE's
going
website,
to,
it has a diagram. When you go to register for PACE, right on the website, it has a diagram. And it says how to register with PACE. First thing is pay your OSBA dues.
but I will look into it and find out whatever I can. And then I'll email everybody. Yeah.
We can add that.
I'll try to find it out
If, yeah,
well before that, but
thank you. So then if we go through this list, our candidate is either Craig Albright, we abstain, or no action taken. So, I
Craig's
guess,
a good guy out of Dayton.
and I don't know if you had a chance to look through the candidate questionnaire or not. So, I guess let's do this kind of one at a time. We may not need to get to the bottom, but if there's any vote for Craig Albright,
Aye.
Yeah,
is that an aye for you?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so then we won't move to the next two. Okay, resolution 1 amends the OSBA dues schedule.
So it seemed like it's a very aggressive increase. I was just not comfortable with that, just looking at the material.
I'm a no also. I think it's extremely aggressive.
I mean, it's
I'm also a no.
It's
so-
huge.
no.
So we got a no for that one. 3, resolution 2 creates the Oregon School Board Members Pride Caucus. and designates a seat on the OSBA Board of Directors and Legislative Policy Committee.
No.
I have a no.
A no.
Same.
Okay, so we've got a no, unanimous on that one. Resolution 3 adopts the proposed amendments to the bylaws, OSBA bylaws.
So I would say, I mean, that's the number one of the main things it does is it changes the whole board makeup. So I'd just say
I'm a no on
be a
that.
no. I don't know if there's a.
They're
any
doing it
others.
because of resolution 2.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm a no.
Okay, so we've got no unanimous on resolution 3.
Oh, yeah.
And then the rest of it will have to be typed out online. So, okay, so we've got, just to read it for the record, position 13, Craig Albright was unanimous yes. Resolution 1, unanimous no. Resolution 1. Resolution 2, unanimous no. Resolution 3, unanimous no. Right. Okay. So patron input. We'll move to the next thing. Board comments.
I guess my only comment is I just would encourage my fellow board members to do a little bit of research. Reach out to Hugh and just get a good idea of what he stands for and what the kind of legislative stuff they'll be standing by, because I think they'd be a good voice. But more importantly, I think they'll stand for a lot of the things that we are more aligned with in our particular district. And we already belong to an association that stands for things that I'm not aligned with. So I would like to hear like-minded legislative information. I don't know if you guys do the same thing I do, but I sign up for all the notifications. My emails are flooded. And I try to read and I try to keep up, not just from educational standing, but things that will affect, Sean's and my property, and things that will affect our taxes, and things that will affect shipping, the trades here in Oregon. It just would be nice to have another resource where information can be given to us that we can read and be part of if we choose to. So I would just encourage my fellow board members to learn a little bit more about Hugh and the school board network, because I would like to be part of it and receive their information.
Anything else? Okay, so let's move to announcements and dates of appointments.
So sorry. I realized that when I hit the enter button, it numbered all of them. So I will go through and fix that. It was my bad. Yeah. Yep.
That's fine.
My bad.
I saw that. I do it all the time.
Auto number.
Yeah. I must have been just like chugging along and
It
yeah.
happens.
All right, number 10. So Pumpkin Days, as Chrissy said, start tomorrow.
Is it like all day long?
Just the afternoon, but
Yeah.
so that all the elementary classes have time to cycle through while the high school classes are in there.
So they'll kind of cycle through the kitchen,
They'll
the
actually be taking
CTE.
at both classrooms.
Oh, yeah.
So they'll do a couple classes tomorrow. She just had a sign-up sheet, so they had opportunities over those 3 days to come in with their class if they wanted to. So
So sample of pumpkin pie.
I don't know.
Yeah,
hopefully.
pumpkin pie or pumpkin bread.
Ooh,
I'm going
yum.
blank on this year because it kind of switched between the years, but hands-on fun stuff.
Yeah.
And kids working with younger kids, which is great.
Uh-huh.
Not boat buddies, but it's still good.
Yeah.
And then we have picture retakes coming up. Number 11. Picture retakes coming up on Wednesday.
We're really just going with it.
She will throw things in.
11 is actually 12, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything that.
Yeah, get it right. Get it right.
Vanessa, have you been like putting these dates of importance in these things? Have you been the person who's been putting them on social media?
Yeah,
Good job.
trying to. Yeah.
It's
Thank
got
you.
very creative. You've done a nice job.
Thank you.
It's colorful and eye-catching.
Yeah, it's eye-catching.
Yeah.
The retake day was very eye-catching.
Thank you.
She sent me something today that I thought was Peridot related. It was Dutch. She was showing me all the promotions for stickers they have coming up over the next couple weeks. So I thought
Yeah,
that
can't
was
take
great.
credit
Did you
for
make
that.
By the way,
No,
Oh.
no.
it's sent me by a fan. I thought you were the fan.
No.
So. All right, the next one, Harvest Carnival, the big day of the year right there. So this Thursday, K-3 Pumpkin Patch field trip. Which one is that going to?
French Prairie.
Yes, French Prairie.
Oh, not Heiser?
No, they don't offer as many daytime opportunities. The Heiser has one little patch where a couple of other places have all the activities open during the time. A little patch with just pumpkins, and that's the only activity to do.
Gotcha.
My last
And
experience.
I think it's more expensive for that small experience also,
right.
because I know they looked into that one last year.
So French Prairie's giving you guys a special pricing, because they're more expensive for the public
Right.
than Heiser.
Yes, they are.
Pumpkin patches have definitely changed over the last 10 years.
It's like Disneyland.
Yeah,
Oh.
you spend a lot of money to go.
Okay, not Disneyland, but it's
I don't,
Enchanted Forest.
they all range between 28 and 32 to enter and do all the activities. I
Or
only
they
know
Yeah,
sell
just
coins, each coin is $4, and then you need to use multiple coins at each
Yeah, it's
location.
$12 a person
It's a scam.
for what?
for the French Prairie.
Right, but then you have to buy the coins for $4. So if you
Oh,
buy
yeah, for what
every
they're-
activity, it comes up to 33.
You can grow pumpkins.
I know, because I
Yeah.
just
That's all.
took a whole bunch of things.
They're-
Heiser was 28, and the pumpkin cannons are the real deal.
They are really cool.
They're really cool.
But if you've been going to them for a long time and you see the cost increase over time, you just can't quite stomach it.
I know, I was sick about it, but we were busy, we had lots to do.
Yeah, sure.
Number 15, on October 31st, middle school, high school into first quarter, and then we'll be passing around some candy that day too to our elementary students. So they'll come through the high school hallway and do a little trick or treating.
And we're hoping to schedule that for the morning time so that our preschool can join us.
No
Never mind,
test
not
that
the
day?
afternoon.
No test that day, right? It's just the end of the quarter.
They can't do other tests.
It's definitely gonna affect test scores.
It's not usually a good day to assess
No.
on Halloween.
So we
Turkey
better
trot.
hand out some candy.
Who's
Yeah.
gonna wear a turkey costume?
I don't know. I look forward to seeing what that is. I have no idea. What is that?
The turkey trot?
No, I know who's doing it. I mean, I know what it is. Sorry.
Leadership, right? It's
Yeah.
She's
for
doing it for
Yeah,
the,
for the
for the
holiday.
For the-
party.
last year it was done at Christmas time, but Morgan is due right there during when break starts, so she moved it to Thanksgiving time and called it turkey trot.
Thanksgiving is a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
Gets
They're
that
also
money
trying to
going,
shift
too.
it away from Christmas time when people are
Mhm.
already
Yeah.
spending a lot of money.
And then, what you're all looking forward to, board meeting on November 18th.
Reminder, we've got a work session at 5:30 that day.
5:30, send 5:30? All right,
What are we
Okay.
doing at that work session?
That's the
Following
follow-up
up.
DLT.
if you wanted to do that.
Yeah. Okay. So we will adjourn at 8:03. Thank you.
I was close, I said 8.
Thank you.
The girls won in 3 sets.
Yeah, I saw that.
It was a little bit-